Nigeria, the US currency, has just been trashed by Africa's largest oil company, and there's no better moment than the BRICS summit for everyone who still believes that the West controls the globe to wake up. The BRICS need to be really woken up. Countries are now building the foundation to bury the West rather than merely opposing it, and guess what? Naira, after formally joining the rebellion, Africa's economic powerhouse, has raised the question of when the official dollar would disappear. Let's investigate Naira's decision to sell crude oil for different currencies. This goes beyond just discussing energy or economic strategy. The push is for Nigeria to sell crude oil in local money instead of using the divine Nigeria is stepping up as a proud ally in this dollarization revolution. But why did Nigeria do it? The US dollar is a direct challenge to the Western financial system. It's a political statement to signal that the world no longer revolves around the greenback and the power dynamics are shifting BRICS. The Federal Executive Council of Nigeria didn't just wake up and decide to stop using the dollar. Rather, this move was carefully thought out, strategically timed, and intended to hit the US financial stranglehold on global trade where it hurts the most. Mohammed Manga El, the Ministry of Finance's Director of Information and Public Relations, didn't hold back when he announced the switch to local currency for oil sales. The sale of crude oil in Abuja will now take place in Naira instead of the US dollar. This is not just about economics, but also about regaining political independence from Western manipulation. The dollar has been used as a financial noose around the necks of nations that depend on trade with the West for decades. But Nigeria has decided that it is time to stop acting as a puppet to the Western powers and has aligned itself with BRICS. Unabashedly, Nigeria is asserting its leadership position in the global south. The move by Nigeria to sell oil in local currencies wasn't a surprise. For years, the BRICS have been in the forefront of the fight against the dollar's hegemony. Since 2022, dollarization has been a primary objective of the BRICS alliance. Because of its inconsistencies, the Western financial system, which has traditionally depended on the US dollar as the world's reserve currency, is beginning to fall apart. But why is Nigeria uniting with the BRICS? Mission and not the West. BRICS is focused on developing financial systems that work for all of its members. This isn't some pie-in-the-sky dream. It's real, and it's happening right now by selling its oil in Naira. Simply put, BRICS isn't just another alliance of nations. It's a bloc that operates on the principle of mutual benefit, not domination, while the West continues to push outdated economic models designed to benefit a small elite. The powerful message that Nigeria is sending to the global south and beyond is, we don't need your crumbling currency to thrive, and that's exactly what BRICS stand for when it comes to economic independence from the West. The question now is, what will happen to the dollar after this? Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Africa's geopolitics, economy, and changing landscape. Let's go on. Without sugarcoating it, the dollar has been slowly declining for years. The dollar has lost credibility due to Western sanctions, currency manipulation, and an excessive dependence on one currency. With 37 billion barrels of proven oil reserves, the US has long used its currency as a weapon to punish nations that refuse to toe the line. However, as the BRICS rise, nations are starting to understand that they no longer have to submit to the dollar. Manga's announcement to abandon the dollar is just the most recent blow to a currency that is already on the verge of collapse. Given that Nigeria has 3.1% of global reserves, this choice has significant geopolitical as well as economic ramifications. Nigeria has the means and the political will to set the conditions for years to come. The West has manipulated global markets by using the dollar as a sledgehammer to punish non-compliant nations and control them. But the tide is shifting, and the BRICS countries are reversing course and refusing to follow Western laws while nations rejoice over this profound change. You can sure that the Western elite is freaking out because they realize the game is nearly over. Countries like China and Russia have long been preparing for this moment. The West is scrambling to maintain control of a system that is slipping through their fingers. But it's too late. BRICS are the future, and Nigeria's move is an attack on Western financial dominance. The US in particular has been playing a dangerous game with its currency for decades, pretending that the dollar is invincible, but when major oil players like Nigeria start ditching it, the cracks in the foundation are becoming impossible to ignore. Actually, the most pertinent issue is, why should Nigeria still trade in dollars at all? That currency has only ever served to bind the country to a system that favors Western powers. Nigeria is one of the top 15 oil-producing nations in the world, with the 8th largest reserves and the 6th largest oil exports worldwide. Despite this, they have been compelled to sell their oil via Naira for years, following regulations that are advantageous to everyone except them. Nigeria is making a strong statement: we control our destiny. This is a victory for the whole BRICS region as well as for Naira. The global south is growing, and the BRICS are the force behind this transformation, while Western countries struggle to hold on to their dwindling influence. For years, critics have written off the BRICS as a loose alliance of nations with no real power, but as more countries adopt the BRICS model, it's becoming more and more obvious that the West is in for a nightmare scenario in which they are no longer in control. The BRICS are creating a new order that works for them rather than against them. BRICS is creating a global economic structure that is independent of the dollar and the antiquated conventions of Western domination, something that the West is unable to match. Countries all over the world are beginning to realize that they don't need to be tied to the dollar any longer. This isn't a one-off. Rather, it's about building systems that serve the interests of BRICS. Naira's decision to abandon the dollar in favor of local currencies is just the most recent example of BRICS' growing influence. Nations, not the West. When Mohamed Manga discusses the Federal Executive Council's decision to sell oil in Naira, he's talking about something far more significant than financial policy. He's talking about the future of global power, one that does not revolve around the dollar, and what the future holds for Africa. For far too long, the West has viewed Africa as a passive player on the international scene, one that could be controlled through financial manipulation and resource exploitation. However, those days are over, as Nigeria is emerging as a leader not just in Africa but globally. This is about more than just oil. It's about power by siding with